There are two types of people who travel the Erie Canal. There are those who go for distance, who power through, and to see it as a convenient highway to get from one place to another. This was the purpose of the canal when it was built back in 1825. It was a workhorse, an economic engine, and a driver of goods that opened the West. Its rich history includes mules, cooks, bargemen, lock keepers, and clerks. It was built on the back of laborers who toiled in difficult conditions to fill a ditch with water that would float the hopes and dreams of many Americans as they spread out into an emerging empire. But like an old pair of shoes or some technology like the telegraph that we no longer use, its use has been relegated to a closet and mothballed. Much of that old canal physically exists today, although most of it is a past memory or a dust in the wind. Its ideas, a paradigm, a way of life that we no longer see. We chose to be the second kind of people to travel the canal. The slow, the languid, and the inquisitive who sought to peel the many layers of modernity and see if we can find some of the old Erie Canal that is left. Thomas Jefferson is frequently quoted as saying that the proposed plan for the Erie Canal was little short of madness. Jefferson's comment is essentially hearsay, reported by another party. However, rather unusually, Jefferson himself later confirmed that he had no doubt that his comments, as related to the second-hand comment, are correct, even though he did not remember uttering them. Many people say many things about infrastructure projects, both in the modern times and in the past. The Brooklyn Bridge was poo-pooed, a tunnel across the English Channel was perceived as impossible, and the Erie Canal that we now travel, once described as Clinton's folly, remains one of the most important projects in American history, and without doubt grew our country in ways that could never be foreseen. It didn't take us long to find a canal rich in history, with so many stories along the way, both new and old. As we traveled each portion of the Erie Canal, we found locals who embraced it, people who had no use for it, and communities that lived among it. With towns dotted every 15 miles along the canal, the distance a mule could tow a barge in the old days, we found a portion of upstate New York where one can travel by the water and explore the fabric of America. We spent 10 days and traveled only 200 miles back and forth visiting towns, rich with history, full of stories, battling economic problems, and yet the true spirit of the Erie Canal, founded in 1725, is clearly evident. The waters we floated upon today, some 200 years after this canal was built, are rich with the history of the communities, of the people who built them, and the ebb and flow of an economic engine, and now a tourist engine, that keeps our communities in upstate New York alive and vibrant. We were so excited to explore this area of upstate New York. Scottish economist and philosopher Adam Smith wrote some 300 years ago the following: "Good roads, canals, and navigable rivers, by diminishing the expense of carriage, put the remote parts of the country more nearly upon a level with those of the neighborhood of the town they are upon, and the greatest of all improve improvements." As we traveled up and down the canal, we couldn't agree some 300 years later more.